What's up, guys? What's up? And welcome back to Sweep Up the Middle podcast. We're talking episode 19 here. I don't even know what week we're on anymore. I think we're on week 7, week 8, something like that. Reason I'm off is because we took a bye last week, middle of the year. We always take a little bye, and I was vacationing / working, so I wasn't in town either. So we're back. The goal here is to get the information out from here on out in a quicker amount of time, get you on with your day. So we're going to just jump straight into it right now. And a big thing this week is bye week. So we have 6 byes. We have Arizona, Green Bay, Jacksonville, Los Angeles, New York Giants, and Tennessee. So that's going to leave you in a position when you're usually starting people that you don't start. So this is where the depth comes into play here. I think next week is a 16 bye as well. But yeah, let's jump into it. Let's go start of the week quarterback, Carson Wentz. Philadelphia, I hate to say it, but they look like the best team right now, and Wentz looks like a top 5 quarterback. Going against the 49ers, good matchup. He's had 18 plus fantasy points. 49ers have given up 18 fantasy points to 4 of the last 5 quarterbacks that they faced. Carson Wentz, easy start. Next, Cam Newton versus the Bucks. Last 5 games, their defense has allowed 4 quarterbacks to record 20 plus points. Easy, Cam Newton, Bucks. Kirk Cousins versus Cowboys. Kirk Cousins has looked pretty good too. I think he's like the 3rd highest in yard per reception, at like 8.3. So, and the defense has allowed an average of 20 fantasy points per game to quarterback on the road. Easy, Kirk Cousins, Cowboys. Moving on to sit of the week, Matt Stafford versus the Steelers. Steelers have allowed the 2nd fewest fantasy points to quarterbacks at 10 points a game, and no player at the position has scored more than 16 fantasy points against them in 4 of the last 6 games. So with that being said, sit Stafford. Another big one. We're going to flip-flop. We're going to go the other way. Ben Roethlisberger versus the Lions. He's failed to produce 18 or more points a game this season, and remember, he's averaged 14 points on the road since 2014. I've been saying that stat all year. Roethlisberger is one of my big losses, downgrades, so to speak, at the start of the year. I'm avoiding Big Ben. I've been avoiding him all year. Next, Simeon versus the Chiefs. Simple fact, he scored less than 16 points in 4 straight games. That offense is so up and down. They need to give C.J. Anderson the ball more too. So nothing's trending towards Simeon. Next, we'll move to running back. Start, Jordan Howard versus the Saints. He's the third most in touches for running backs. The Saints have allowed the 2nd most PPR points at 32 to the position at home. So, big start this week, Jordan Howard. Next is Joe Mixon versus the Colts. The Colts have given up an NFL high 10 touchdowns and the 2nd most PPR points to the position. I think the Bengals know that they need to get him the ball more for this offense to be dynamic. I'm looking to start Joe Mixon this week. Next, Amir Abdullah versus the Steelers. Steelers have given up an average of 8 catches and 26 PPR points a game on the road. So, for me, Abdullah's been down a little bit. I'm down on Stafford, so I think they're going to dump it off. Abdullah, big start this week. Next, we'll move to sit-ems. Lamar Miller versus the Seahawks. Easy, Seahawks D at Seattle. Defense has allowed the 4th fewest PPR points to back this season. Next is Frank Gore versus the Bengals. Fact of the matter is, Frank Gore hasn't looked like himself. That offense has been terrible. And rookie Marlon Mack has outsnapped him 32-22 last week. So again, he's not producing. It's not a good team. There's no reason in keeping him around. And he got out-touched last week. So I'm avoiding Gore. Marlon Mack is the back right now to have. Next is Isaiah Crowell versus the Vikings. He got like over 20 touches last week. And Isaiah Crowell is 30th in PPR points among backs in that time. And Vikings have given up the fewest PPR points to running backs. Vikings good D. Crowell not a good start. Browns are terrible. Next, moving to wide receivers. Start, Keenan Allen versus the Patriots. The Patriots haven't been that good of a defense. They're still plugging holes. They're 5-2. They're doing Patriot things. But I still think they're going to give up points and yards. The defense has allowed an average of over 200 yards and the 3rd most PPR points to wideouts this season. Next, Demaryius Thomas versus the Chiefs. Chiefs have allowed a league-high 13 touchdown catches and 2nd most PPR points to wide receivers this season. Demaryius Thomas had a bad week last week. Also, I am down on Trevor Siemian. However, I think there is enough there, given the touchdown catches and the most PPR points, that Demaryius Thomas has some good of a game. PPR, I wouldn't start him in standard, but PPR for sure. Next, Kelvin Benjamin versus the Bucks. Bucks have allowed 12 different wideouts to score 10 plus PPR points in their first 6 games. That's 8 receivers who have had 14 plus points. Kelvin Benjamin, Cam Newton's go-to target. I'm up on Cam this week. I'm also up on Kelvin Benjamin. Next, sit of the week, Terrell Pryor versus the Cowboys. Man, you talk about a bust right now. He has all the talent in the world. He made it look like it was going to work in Cleveland last year out of all the places, but he's dropping balls. He doesn't have any confidence. And right here, solid snaps and targets declined last week to Jamison Crowder and Josh Dotson. They were more involved in the passing game. They've proven themselves, so I'm voiding Terrell Pryor this week unless you have to start him due to the buys. Next is T.Y. Hilton versus the Bengals. Hilton scored fewer than 5 PPR points in his last 2 games combined. Bengals have allowed the fewest catches at 48 and the 5th fewest PPR points to opposing wide receivers this season. I'm avoiding Hilton. Don't trust the offense, as I already mentioned with Frank Gore. Last and not least, for the wide receivers, I'm sitting Will Fuller versus the Seahawks. Easy. Seattle Seahawks. I don't expect a lot from the Texans this week. In Seattle, the defense is really good, and Seahawks have given up the 2nd fewest PPR points to opposing wide receivers at home this season. Don't want any part of that. Next, start of the week for tight ends, Kyle Rudolph versus the Browns. Allowed 4 top 10 fantasy tight ends in 7 weeks and the 2nd most points to the position and the most catches to tight ends. The Browns are terrible. I'm avoiding the Browns D, obviously, but I'm starting Kyle Rudolph this week. Next, Jimmy Graham versus the Texans. The Texans have surrendered an average of 17 PPR points to tight ends on the road. Texans, again, they have a good defense, but they don't scare me when I have Jimmy Graham. You know, he's a freak of nature. Seattle doesn't do enough to get him the ball, but again, that fact right there, have surrendered an average of 17 PPR points to tight ends on the road, starting Jimmy Graham this week. Next, Tyler Kroft versus the Colts. Since Tyler Eifert has gone down, this man has looked really good at the tight end position. He scored 3 times in his last 3 games. You should pick him up if you have a Gronk, or if you don't have a good backup, so to speak, or if you're dealing with injuries as well too. He might be a good flex for you given injuries and a bye. I think he scores again this week. I'd start Tyler Kroft. We're going to go to sit-ems, Coby Fleener versus the Bears. He has scored 8 PPR points in his last 3 games combined. Bears have surrendered 1 touchdown to a tight end since week 1. Only 1 since week 1. They've given up fewer than 6 PPR points to 4 of 6 opposing number 1 tight ends since the opener. I'm avoiding Coby Fleener, 2 up and down. I want consistency out of my tight end position. Do not start Coby Fleener. Next, O.J. Howard versus the Panthers. Now, I know you just picked him up. You're really hyped to start him. But Jameis Winston loves Cameron Brate in the end zone. He trusts him so much more. He has had a touchdown before this game. 3 touchdowns in 3 games. He still trusts Brate more. But O.J. Howard with the Panthers have surrendered just 10 PPR points a game to tight end. So if Cam Newton's going to anybody, he's going to go to Cameron Brate. I'm avoiding O.J. Howard this week. Now we're going to move on to defenses. Defensive starts. Vikings, Chiefs, Saints, Eagles. I added Bengals and Eagles since Eagles next. Bengals, Eagles, Patriots, Steelers, Bucks. I'm starting them this week. I'm sitting the Chargers, Bears, Panthers, Redskins, Cowboys, Texans, Broncos, and the Bills. So if you had Arizona's D, Green Bay's D, Jacksonville's D, the Rams D, the Giants D, or the Titans D, look for the Vikings, Chiefs, Saints, Bengals, Eagles, Patriots, Steelers, and Bucks. So that is your defensive starts and defensive sits. We're going to move on to bold predictions now. My 2, just going off of, I like to go off my stats since I believe in them. Bold predictions, Joe Mixon for 20. He's going to have a big week this week. And I think Terrell Pryor goes for less than 8. So those are your fun facts and information this week for Sweep Up the Middle. Always a shout out to ESPN and NFL.com for the great facts and information that I provide to y'all. Please reach out to me at mitchellryan21.com/SUTM for trade analysis because the trade deadline's coming up. For the best rankings website on who should I start, again, mitchellryan21.com/SUTM. So Sweep Up the Middle, episode 19 is wrapping up. Remember to check here to subscribe to my YouTube channel and check here to click the last Sweep Up the Middle video. And as always, this is Mitchell Ryan checking out. Y'all have a good one.